We are live.
We're live. We're live at 11:05. This is BC with Spirit Cars. Josh, the voice of Spirit Cars, behind the camera. Let me get on a roll here. The boys are still standing in the back. Hopefully we don't pick that up. I've been gone for a couple days, but so I missed Larry. Larry, sorry I missed you. I guess everybody said you liked your car. Everything's looking good. I put the hood and that back on it. Just so you can kind of see it. We had the grill shell together. This is a Blue Moon. So what we're doing now is we're putting the AC on the Blue Moon, and I was going to give you kind of a big overview of how air conditioning works, and just kind of show you that as the technical side of it. And after I tried to figure out how to put it into a one-liner, there is no way. I mean, there's a lot of good information on, I suppose if you look it up on Google, or you can look on YouTube. As far as the different components and the different systems, you got a condenser, you got an evaporator. The principle about air conditioning, the Freon goes from liquid to gas, liquid to gas. Whenever you compress something, I mean, whether it's your compressor over there, when you compress air, it gets warm. Whenever you compress something, it gets warm. So what you've done, you've compressed it and you've heated it up, and you run it through your condenser here. And when you blow the fan on it and you blow some of that hot off of it, you're actually cooling the liquid in there, and it comes around. You've got a high end and you've got a low end, and it comes around. Since you've blown that hot off of it, it's technically a little bit cooler than it was, so when it comes back around into the car, into the evaporator, it changes from a gas, or from a liquid to a gas again. And in evaporation, there's cooling process in the evaporation. What you're doing, you got a blower in the car, you're blowing across another radiator looking thing, blowing the cooler air off. So what you're doing is you're removing the heat by heating it up, blowing the heat off, sending the cooler to your car, and blowing it off. So that's kind of the thing. Overall, you got a high end, you got a low end, and again, I think if I get too technical about it, it will be more confusing. So you can get drawings. I tried to get some good, easy drawings. I pulled both of these off the internet, and can you see that? Another good one. Okay, so if you buy, this one has a vintage air. We usually use Southern Air is the product that we usually use. Why don't you go ahead and show inside here. So I guess we'll talk about some of the issues you're going to encounter, and the biggest one is it don't fit. We like the, what's it called, Gen Air? What's the Southern Air one called? Southern Rods or whatever. They're mini Gen Air, maybe vintage airs.
Yeah, that's vintage air. I don't remember what it's
called. But they got a smaller one here, and this is a little bigger than the one we normally use. So getting it hidden in one of our cars, or in one of these types of cars, is going to be difficult. You've got not just your heating or your cooling, but you've also got heating. Now the heating is a little bit easier. The tubes can be a little more flexible and bendable and to get around. But on the AC, there's a lot of pressure that goes through these AC lines. So you got to come out and you got to have the lines crimped right. So what I'm doing here, if you can see in here, I've got a line on. I've determined that if I can cut this out, Eddie had put this in here for his interior panel, but he only needs down here and here. So I'm going to cut this out. I've got the block in. I made it, and I got it so it'll work. I can bend these around and fit them. What I'll do is I'll fit this onto the end. I'll cut it where it goes. Get all my things fitted, and I won't crimp it. And I think we'll make a 2-day project out of this. But I just got back to work this morning, so by tomorrow I should be able to start crimping parts together. But when you put two, especially if you've got two 90 ends, if you put them on there, they're going to have to go exactly where they need to go. Because if you got one this way and one, half an angle like this, you better get them right and tape them on before you crimp them. Now, if I'm going to put straight on this end, obviously that don't matter because I can bend it however I need to go, and this one can just go around. So I get all my hoses fit first. That's what I'm doing now. On this one I was able to go ahead and get the block and have room in the car. So last week I thought maybe I would have to do these individually. These two here will be for my heat. So I'll have heater hoses come off of here. This one here, I searched and searched for a dryer that I could actually put the dryer directly onto the block itself. So I put that directly onto the block, and I've got a 90 now that I can come off of the dryer, and I can come around. I say I got a 90 to do that. I'm sure that's how I'm going to do it. But I'll come around on building a hot rod. We got two issues, and I'm not sure which is the more important one. They're both equally important. It has to be aesthetically pleasing. Clean is cool. The cleaner the look you can get, the less you see, the better. That's just the general principle of hot rods. We want it clean. We don't want gobs of stuff every which way. When you have air conditioning, you have gobs of stuff. There's no way around it. You got a compressor right here hanging at first, and you're gonna have to make sure you're wiring too. Now this compressor doesn't. The pulley spins all the time, but the clutch only engages when you want it to produce compress the freon. So you'll have wiring issues and all the rest of it. And a lot of the books, they're really good. They tell you this schematically. You can look at it. It's not. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't freak out about I'll never be able to do it. Just kind of try to understand the whole concept. It flows. I mean, it's all got to go one direction. You got to have the right components in the right place in the direction that it goes. The dryer needs to be somewhere between there and here on the lower side. It doesn't matter if I put the dryer over here, if I put the dryer over there, just so it's before, on that side of the evaporator and on this side of condenser. So it's just got to be in the right direction. The same with the compressor, and you've got several other components. Again, I'm not going to throw out so much stuff here that it's confusing. Tomorrow we may go a little more in depth when I can put my finger on it and show it as it's all connected. But again, there's a lot of pictures there. The other issue I've got is, there's space issues. We had the hood on this one already, and I've got the grill shell fitting. Now, and I realized Larry had put the grill shell on already and had it sort of there. So how much space do I have between this radiator and the condenser and the grill itself? And I've got very little. So what I may have to do is pull the grill shell forward just a little bit. I may have to move the actual radiator on the frame a little bit. I can push that back a little bit because I've moved the grill shell forward. I still want my hood to be right. I may have a little bit more radiator showing outside of the grill shell than maybe I would if it was just evened up, but it'll be pretty close. That'll be pretty good. Here's a tip. May call this the tip of the day that you might not think about. If I didn't paint this black, it's all clean, it's pretty good. And you can see on the back here, why don't you show this? Whenever I get a radiator, as soon as you pull it out of the box, you're lucky if the fins aren't bent a little bit in the box, even though they carefully put it in and foam it. It is so easy. If you look at it crossways, you're going to bend the fins a little bit. They've got combs that you can straighten them out with and all that. But I just take and tape a piece of cardboard on the front and the back of a radiator while I'm fitting everything up. That helps. I can get on it, I can scrape on it, and I'm not messing up them fins. So on the front, if I'm looking through my grill, and I've got a good looking grill, let me show it to you here. I think we were talking about this on the last time. I've got it installed now, and it fits pretty good. It's for China brand. You get what you get sometimes, but it looks good, clean, metal grill shell, metal grill, But what's going to happen, if you look through that, it's just going to get all confusing. You're going to see the chrome looking here, you're going to see the aluminum ball back there. And if you stand back and look at it, it just, in my opinion, doesn't look really clean. So I'll mask this off the front of it and I'll paint it flat black. And I won't put lots of paint on, but I'll put just enough paint where when you're looking at this grill, you see the grill. You don't see through it and you don't see all the just chrome every direction. Makes for a clean look anyway. This also, I've got to fit the, and this particular condenser, we ordered it. We had to fit the brackets on. It came with these brackets and they're satisfactory. I mean, they're on secure. It's not going to come loose. It's off the radiator. It's not hitting any of the fins. It's not hitting especially any of the tubes that go around the radiator. Very important. Don't get frustrated if it don't fit, because it's pretty much guaranteed it won't fit. We're not talking about OEM here where they build literally tens of thousands of the same thing to fit in the exact same car to go on, like, you know, if you buy a car from the showroom. The principles are the same. You need to have the same components, but you can get this one bigger, smaller, wider, taller, you know, different capacities. So you're going to have to make it fit. That's just the bottom line. We've done quite a few of them now, and we know the different components that we have used. We know what to do. If I use a certain one, I know I can come through here and I go out here, and we placed it, and we've done it before, but it's still modifying. So don't get overwhelmed because it don't fit. Again, I probably said this on every time we start looking at a car. Think it out. Think it through. All right, I have to have this here. I needed to make sure that I want my hoses, and the condenser usually comes with these hoses here. They're hard lines. I wanted to go right alongside of that, so that determined how far over I had to have my condenser. I'm coming across. It's going to be tight on here, but I'll be able to get that put together. So realistically, by the end of the day, I'll have this thing pretty much together, pretty much fitting. I want to hide my lines best I can, or at least make them look symmetrical or in line. I just don't like them dangling. I'm just not a big fan of that kind of stuff dangling so it looks like a glob. It's just clean, tight, fit and finish is what it's all about in hot rodding. So I guess Larry liked his car again. I'm sorry I missed him, but I guess we'll see you next time. We're moving ahead with this, and after we get the thing on this, we got Larry, the Black Knight. We got the Black Knight. Now there's some controversy over that name, but the Black Knight's over here wanting to get together and show off. So it'll be doing that this week, and we got a few other things. I think this will be a two-parter though. I think we'll show this again tomorrow. So for today, that's it. And surely, since I left off here Thursday, the books are still here. Or at least this one is. Just pick a page that don't feel like it's been opened recently. Until we can love and value others, our understanding of ourselves will be limited. So that's it for today. Let's learn to love others. We seem to have that problem right now in this country. So time to start loving each other and loving our hot rods, and we'll see you tomorrow.